welcome back to, well, it's technically the first episode of Chronicles of War. I'm Alex, and today we're going to be going over a battle that's essentially the cataclysm for the majority of the stories I'm going to be telling here, or at least quite a few of them. Because this battle, me learning about it, is what led me to discover several other battles, events, or people. So, let's get into it. I'm going to be telling you the story of the Battle of Castle Itter, one of the few times that Americans and Germans teamed up during World War II. But first, before we get into the battle, let's get you a bit of some background. So, Castle Itter is located in Austria. The castle was seized from its owner and turned into a prison in early 1943, and it was put under the administration of Dachau concentration camp. This prison, however, it was a fairly special prison because it was used to house VIPs. VIPs being very important prisoners, not very important persons. But some of these VIPs were former French prime ministers, former French military leaders, members of the French resistance, and even a pro-French tennis player. More on him later. But there was also some East European prisoners that were there as maintenance and all the working jobs. So, now into the beginning of this battle. Start off with a bit of a prelude to it. It's May 3rd, 1945. A Yugoslav communist resistance member sneaks out. You see, he's pretending he's like, oh yeah, I need to do this one thing for the boss, dude, and I'm gonna go do that. But in reality, he is going to go look for the Americans so they can get help. So, he goes to a town about 40 miles away. Now, there is a town that's only 5 miles away from this place at the bottom of the mountain it's at. However, last they knew was that the Germans controlled this town, so he's not going there. He goes 40 miles away, and he encounters part of the 409th Infantry Regiment of the 103rd Infantry Division. Finds some U.S. troops, So he's like, hey, listen, I'm from this prison that's 40 miles away. Can you come break us out? So these troops, they attempt to launch rescue. However, halfway there is heavy shelling, and then they also entered the territory of the 36th Division, which meant that they couldn't go there anymore because it was under their area. So they couldn't really continue that effort to rescue them. Meanwhile, the commander of the forces at Itter actually fled after this guy didn't come back. Also left because a couple days prior, the former commandant, or essentially leader of Dachau, who had been at Castle Itter, mysteriously died. So the guy who's in charge of Castle Itter is just like, I'm out of here, and he just left. And then a little while later, the guards there also left. So now it's just a prison with a bunch of prisoners in it and no guards. So prisoners, they take control of the prison and arm themselves with the equipment and weapons left behind by the guards. There's not a lot, but they take what they can get. Because they're fearing that there might be an attack by members of the SS that are still loyal to Germany. Because at this point in time, it's right about the end of World War II. I mean, Hitler's dead, and a lot of people in Germany, a lot of soldiers and such, are like, I don't know if we should continue with this war or not. But they're fearing that, the SS might come back, because that's who was originally running the prison, but people that were there left. So We go into May 4th, the next day. The prison leaders sent the cook, who was there 5 miles by bike, to the town at the bottom of the mountain, which is, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, Vorgel. There, they met up with the Austrian resistance, because actually, Germans are no longer there except for roaming SS patrols. But the cook gets there, he meets up with the Austrian resistance, and then he's taken to Josef Gangl, who was a major of the Wehrmacht until he then joined the resistance instead of retreating when he was supposed to. And now Gangl is wanting to just wait for the Americans to arrive so he can surrender to them. However, that's not really possible now because they're the prison situation. So he goes out to look for some Americans. Now, he does find some. He finds Captain John Lee of the 23rd Tank Battalion, which is part of the 12th Armored Battalion. Now, Lee's only on reconnaissance. He's only got 4 Shermans with him, and he's currently waiting to be relieved by the 36th Infantry Division. Now, however, when Lee hears about what's going on with the prison, he immediately volunteers to lead a mission to go rescue them. Calls up command and gets the okay for it. And then command goes and so command's giving him the okay. And then some of the 142nd Infantry come in. Now, they're from the 36th. And they're the ones who are coming to relieve him. But what happens is he leaves 2 of his tanks behind, but then takes 5 more and some infantry from those reinforcements. So they start heading to the castle, but they get to a bridge. The thing is, this bridge isn't the most structurally stable. So they're not going to be able to all go over and successfully make it without the bridge collapsing. So he sends the reinforcements back, leaves a tank to guard the bridge. So while 14 Americans, a truck and its driver, 10 former German artillerymen, and Gangl, as well as one tank, that second tank, head to the castle. Now, they get to the castle, and the prisoners, they're not too happy because there's not a lot of people there for the rescue attempt, but, it's better than nothing. So, they know something's going to go down. They're not going to have time to get them out, so they set up defensive positions at the castle. Now, here we begin the battle. Not long after, 100 to 150 SS soldiers attack. The French resistance people are there. The Americans and the Germans are like, hey, listen, you don't have to fight to defend this. We'll take care of it. But they decide to help anyway. So, what the SS did was they made reconnaissance attacks. So basically what they did was they'd send out a small group to attack the castle and just check for any weaknesses and such in their defenses. However, while this is going on, the defenders here managed to call for reinforcements from the Austrian resistance down in Vorgel. However, all they could send was 2 more Wehrmacht soldiers and 1 resistance fighter. Wehrmacht, by the way, is the German army. Now, we get to May 5th. So it's next morning, the reconnaissance all night, and the SS start attacking them with machine gun and anti-aircraft fire, because that's just what they had with them. Now, there's that one tank, the Sherman tank, that was brought with. It's providing machine gun fire. However, it's destroyed by a flat gun, which is German anti-aircraft gun. However, thankfully, only the radio man was inside and he managed to escape successfully. Now, as this battle's going on, we get to afternoon. 142nd, they've learned of the battle going on, and they decide to, send reinforcements. However, they didn't have all the info about, enemy positions and numbers and stuff. So, the tennis player's like, hey, I'll go run through the gauntlet of SS troops and go tell them what's going on. So he goes and does this. He runs through the gauntlet of German troops, the SS troops, so these are elite Germans, and makes it to the 142nd where they're advancing, because they're advancing towards the castle. Tennis player gets there. He's actually recognized by a reporter who happened to be with that unit. It's a reporter from, I believe, can't remember where exactly he's from. Yes, so he's French Canadian. So a French Canadian reporter recognizes this French tennis player. He's like, hey, that guy's French. So then what happens is this tennis player, he's like, I want to join you guys. So he puts on a U.S. uniform, and then they quickly head towards the castle so that they can get there before the defenders run out of ammo, because they only have a limited amount and they're starting to run low. Now, they get there at about 4 p.m. and they quickly manage to overwhelm and defeat these SS soldiers. Now, the aftermath of this battle, about 100 SS troops are taken prisoner by the Americans. And on the defender side, there is only one death, which happens to be Gangel, because he was attempting to move the former French Prime Minister, Paul Reynaud, away from the battle, but then got shot. He was later then declared an Austrian hero, and there's a street in Vorgl named after him. Other than that, for casualties on the defender side, there was only 5 wounded. Now, this battle also takes place 2 days before Germany surrendered. So that's partially why there's just, the 100, 150 SS are attacking this, because they know they know they're done for, so they're going to just try to take out the VIP, very important prisoners, so that there's at least some damage to the Allies, even though they are going to win. They're going to make it where it's a costly victory. But yeah, that is the Battle of Castle Eder. It was honestly really great because I was actually really lucky when when it came to gain information from this, because I purely looked out by chance with something involving this battle. Because I just happened to be at Barnes & Noble about, I don't know, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And I just happened to be at one, and because I was on a trip for something anyway, but yeah, we were at a mall that had one there. Go and look around because I like books, can always find something interesting to read, hopefully. And of course, I immediately went to the military history books, because why not? Just see what they have, because it should be something good. And then I see this one book, and I'm like, yes. And this book, yeah, I actually have it with me here. The book I found is The Last Battle by Stephen Harding. And honestly, it's a really good book. I enjoy it. It's where I got some of my information for this from as well. But the thing is, now, to begin, I mentioned that me learning about this battle is where I got pretty much the rest of my knowledge on these battles is after I learned about this one. And I believe I mentioned in the pilot, I think I'm recording this a week later, but I believe that I mentioned that I came across it by chance when reading something, because it was a song about this battle. Or maybe I didn't mention it, but yeah. There's a song about this battle which is what I randomly found one day, and it's an amazing song. I really and the band is also really good too. It's the song is the song is called "The Last Battle," and it's by I believe, Swedish power metal band called Sabaton. They make a lot of the events I'm going to be pulling from are coming from some of their songs that I originally learned about them from. Because what they do is they make songs about, military history is what a lot of them are about, like people or groups, battles, and such. So, and the first one I ended up hearing was "The Last Stand," and I'm like, this is really cool. And I saw like some comments under about this song saying about how this band always does like military like related songs. So I'm like, I need to check this band out. And now the majority of my Spotify playlist is made up of songs by them. So as you can tell, they're pretty good. That's coming from me, who doesn't typically listen to music. But yeah, that's Battle of Castellitter, when German and American troops fought side by side. So, quick announcements and stuff, again, you can find find the podcast on official account on Twitter, X. I'm just going to call it Twitter because that's what I've always called it. And I'm too lazy to just call it X. So, yeah, again, you can just always find us on Twitter at ChroniclesOFF44. That's the official Chronicles of War account on there. I'll post on there like whenever a new episode comes out or just updates and stuff. Because as I'm recording this, when this will be uploaded, right, when I'm when this episode is uploaded at first, I will be on spring break. And as such, I do not know if there will be a episode released the next week after. It just depends on if I can get into the recording studio early enough the week after I get back to record an episode. So, but I might. It's not guaranteed. If there is an episode, you'll know about it with the Twitter. If not, I could also just post on there whether or not, like, just to confirm, hey, there is an episode coming out this week, or no, there isn't. You'll have to wait till next week. But that's something I won't find out until next Monday. But yeah, thanks, for listening, and make sure you come back if you want to know more about military. Come back if you want to know. And also remember, too, on the Twitter as well, you can comment, like, military figures, events, battles, things like that you want me to go over. And I might do it. Just depends on if I can find enough information about it or not. Or if, if it's, like, big enough of an event. Because if it's not, like, directly big enough, what I might do is, like, take a bunch of, like, quote-unquote smaller things that are related to it and just, like, combine them together, which I'm planning on doing for another one of my future episodes. I'm not saying what it is. You're going to have to wait to find out what that one is, but it's going to be more than one. All I will say about it is it's going to be multiple people's stories together in one I'm planning on doing. But, yeah. Thank you for listening, and yeah, I'm just going to end it. Hey, post-editing Alex here, or since I have to add this in, it's pre-editing Alex. But anyway, that's besides the point. Basically, in the episode, I mentioned about
possibly not having an episode next week, just ignore that because I was sick with the date I was supposed to upload this, and as such, I couldn't. So that was happening last week, and as at the date of this being uploaded, so as such, there will not be a missed week because that happened last week instead of this week. As such, there will be episode next week. So just wanted to let you know, and a reminder, just check the Twitter because that's when you'll know if something comes up like this again. So anyway, just want to let you know.